So we're delighted to be here this afternoon with Lalo Flores. Lalo is the CEO of Century Therapeutics, and Lalo, you have enjoyed quite a remarkable career. I mean, time at the Salk, and then big pharma, and then startups. So tell us about how this all unfolded for you. It's very interesting.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful ride. Um, Everything began in New Jersey. I got my PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology at Rutgers. Then everything moved quite quickly. I was recruited by an exciting company in the Bay Area called Colliers. And that exposed me to the biotech world. Spent there about 8 years. And then I was recruited back to the East Coast by Merck to work on antiviral research. I spent about 9 years at Merck. And then it was time to move on. I mean, that entrepreneurial spirit kicked in. I had the opportunity to leave a startup company. It happened to be right at the time of the financial crisis, 2009. So it was quite a ride. We had to switch paths and change completely the business plan. But in the end, that experience led to the starting of a company called Therapeutics that pioneered a new approach to hepatitis B cures. That was a great success, led to the acquisition by Johnson & Johnson in December 2015. And I spent a couple of years at Johnson & Johnson, and then I wanted to do this again, be an entrepreneur again. And that's what led to this new journey, which is the start of Century Therapeutics in partnership with Versant in 2018.
So you're now twice doing the startup exercise. How has it been different the second time than the first?
Oh, very different. Success, helps. But also, the times have changed tremendously, right? 2009 was very difficult for biotech in general. The landscape in Philadelphia, being an entrepreneur in Philadelphia, 10 years ago is different what it is today. I really felt at a disadvantage as an entrepreneur in Philadelphia compared to my peers and colleagues, in other markets in Boston, San Francisco, where I had come from. Now, Philadelphia, is experiencing a renaissance. And when I told Versant that I wanted to start a company in Philadelphia, I mean, they loved the idea. I mean, Philadelphia already had a name recognition. People already recognizing the talent pool of the area. But also, in general, the market, the biomedical industry is attracted an incredible amount of capital. And that we can discuss why we think that is. But it's been different. The capital commitment to this company is remarkable, and that reflects not only the excitement of the proposition of what the mission that we want to take on, but also the state of the markets and the confidence on biotechnology and biomedical innovation.
Yeah, you had a very big capital raise about a year ago this time, and I'd love to hear more about what led up to that and how that was different from your experience the first time around.
Yeah, so our vision was born out of what we all was inspired by the remarkable success of cell therapy, which, as you know, was born in out of UPenn here in this area, but there are other pioneers, of course, in other places. But this is a challenging area. There's a lot of opportunities for innovation, but it's also expensive to develop cell therapies. It's not like other modalities, like small molecules, for example. So it's more capital intensive. So from the beginning, we thought, well, we need to win in this area and to really have the chance to build a leading company. You need two things. One is a strong financial foundation, right? That you have the critical mass to build a company. And the second one is to have a strong technical foundation, right? So we thought that emerging with a strong financial raise was very important for us to be able to execute on our vision, which is quite ambitious, right? We aspire to really transform cancer care, develop curative therapies that are durable, not just for a small subset of cancers, but for most cancers. And that will require a major investment and iterative innovation over a long period of time. So that was the vision. And the recognition of investors and the field that cell therapy is a very attractive, transformational new modality, a new tool for biomedical researchers is there. So I mean, there's that, the support is there. It's very different times today than what it was 10 years ago.
And now that you have this major funding, what are the key priorities that you're moving forward on at Century and that this enables you to do and to accelerate your work?
The vision for Century is to build a vertically integrated company, which means is to build on outstanding science, research. Our key foundational technology is called induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs, that allow us to overcome a number of technical challenges. But on top of that, we need to acquire a lot of other technologies that are resourced both internally or externally, but also manufacturing capabilities. This is an area where manufacturing is very challenging. So you need to take that. That's very unusual in other fields. You don't need to do that in cell therapy, gene therapy. You need to invest early on in manufacturing if you want to be successful. So it's very capital intensive. And so we're building, as I said, both research, development, manufacturing. And we have big aspirations. We're making good progress. We're in a good place. But I should say that 2019, 2020 are still, company building years.
Yes. So as a founder 2 times over, you've studied this Philadelphia marketplace very carefully. And you've already commented on how much the region has changed and about the foundational role that Philadelphia plays in cell therapy. What are the things that from your perspective you see that are making Philadelphia the place for that to happen? And after that, maybe we can talk a little bit about what more we need to bring to the table to fully realize the vision.
Well, Philadelphia already has a very unique, privileged talent pool that comes from multiple places, something that is actually many people don't recognize, but comes from the number of research centers from legacy pharmas, from Merck, Johnson & Johnson, Glaxo, AstraZeneca, so there, BMS to the east. So there's a lot of, a big pool of pharmaceutical researchers around. Then you have the academic researchers with Penn, Drexel, and others that offer, a different set of talent pool. So that is a really great competitive advantage of our area, especially in cell therapy. We have other companies that are coming here, biotechs. There's a critical mass of biotechs already with experience in cell therapy. Also, and then we have the recognition of venture capital groups. Now, although we don't have major venture capital groups based in Philadelphia, venture capital groups based in Boston and California are getting used to investing in biotechs that are based here. So I think talent is a key advantage.
And for you, from your perspective, what are the things that would most be helpful in accelerating both the growth of Century, but also the growth of other companies that you see that are just getting started, that are a couple steps behind you to advance and really build an infrastructure and ecosystem that is spawning companies on a regular basis at an increasingly large scale, along the lines of where you are, all the way up to the continuum of Spark Roche?
I should say that, infrastructure still, we have room for improvement. As you may know, access to laboratory space, office space is quite limited in our region, especially in Philadelphia. We have, in West Philadelphia, University City is becoming quite vibrant, but the access to lab space is limited. That is holding us back. In the future, manufacturing and other supporting functions are also will help. But we also need to nurture the ecosystem at large. I believe that supporting firms, top law firms, you know, a bigger pool of C-suite executives that can, you know, lead the formation of the next wave of companies. All those are things that we can make more progress. We're in a good place. We're making tremendous progress, but I think there's still room for improvement.
Lalo, as you look 1, 2, or maybe even 3 years down the road, where do you see Century?
I see Century as a clearly recognized leader in the next wave of cell therapy innovation, as one of the leading companies in developing off-the-shelf cell therapies.
We talked the other day a little bit about the challenge of scale manufacturing and the issues that the drug development companies face when they hand over their IP. And so we talked a little bit about how we could solve that scale manufacturing issue. And how serious a challenge do you see that for companies at your stage, earlier stage, and maybe even further down the road?
It is a challenge. You know, in Century's case, we're privileged that we have such a strong financial foundation and backing that we can tackle that by building our own early on. It's unusual for a young company that has significant work ahead to be able to invest early on in manufacturing. So we're solving that challenge, Joe, by building our own manufacturing facility. We're planning on that. Also, out of the gate, we have a strategic partner, Fujifilm Solar Dynamics in Wisconsin, in Madison, where we have access to manufacturing facilities. So Century is a bit of a special case. We have the ability to leverage 2 options, right, of a strategic partner and building our own. But I think for the ecosystem, it would be beneficial perhaps to have access to some different kind of business solutions so that companies can access manufacturing in a cost-effective way.
So your company just signed a lease at One U City Square. I'm curious how the timing is working for you. You talked about the shortage of space in Philadelphia. If you could move in tomorrow, are you ready to be in that space, or is the timing working fairly well with your own expansion?
If we could move tomorrow, we would. So yes, we are excited. We hope that that building moves forward quickly. As I said, this is one of the concerns that I have for the area. We need more space. I hear that from my colleagues, other CEOs that I speak. Everybody's scrambling for space. So if that could happen sooner, or other developers here get motivated, I think there is a tremendous opportunity and a need for more space.
Well, there's a robust future in terms of the number of buildings that are coming online. I think we all just have to live with the challenge of the fact that it takes a while to actually get through the process of designing, approving, and building new space. But we're very excited about your expansion and all that you're bringing to the region. Lalo, you've been very generous with your time today, and we're delighted to spend some time with you and really look forward to more important news coming from Century. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you for inviting me to speak with you. It's been a pleasure.